So I'm going to start with a blank cotton canvas placemat. And then I'm going to grab some grocery store flowers. I opted for something with really thin petals and a lot of detail and color on them. I'm also going to use paper towel and a hammer. So we are going to do some flower pounding. So what this entails is clipping off a few flowers, you can use the leaves as well, and transferring the pigment from the flowers onto the placemat. So I've picked a few that I really like here. I'm going to start one at a time. There's a couple ways you can do this. You can turn the flower upside down so that pattern and color is facing down on the placemat. Put a paper towel over the top and just gently start to pound. And you can see that the pigment is coming through the paper towel. It's also transferring onto the placemat. You can pull up that paper towel and kind of see how it's going. You can pound a little more or a little less. As you get going with this, you're going to get a feel for how hard you need to use your hammer and what position you want to lay the flowers in. You could also take off individual petals and place them around, or individual leaves. You can really get creative and make this look how you want. Once you are satisfied with the amount of flowers and leaves on your placemat, you're going to want to let this dry. So if I pick this up, some of that pigment has actually gone through, so I'm going to place this in a nice clean area and let it set. Now to protect this, you could spray it with a Scotchgard or a fabric protectant. I am just going to leave it. This pigment is not going anywhere. I don't recommend putting it in the wash. You can spot clean it if you need to. I'm using this as a centerpiece, and I've got the vase with all the leftover flowers in it, and it just looks beautiful on my table for spring. So I hope this inspired you to go try this flower pounding technique on a placemat or a table runner for your home.
To begin my project, I took a piece of pattern cardstock. It has like a marbling pattern to it. And I'm going to take some warm water here, and I just have a regular tea bag. This is just an orange Pico tea bag, and I'm going to let it sit in the water for just a few seconds here and let it tint the water. Then I'm going to wring out my tea bag and I'm going to blot it onto my cardstock. So I'm just going to go all over it, blotting it. And then after I've blotted it, I'm also just going to rub it in just a little bit so that it soaks in really nicely to the cardstock. Then I'm going to give this cardstock sufficient time to dry. Once my cardstock is dry, I'm going to take these yellow pansies and I'm going to place them face down on my cardstock, making sure that the petals are fanned out perfectly and that they're not crinkled in any way, so I get the best look for my art. I'm going to arrange them around into a peeling pattern. And then once I have them all set where I want them, I'm going to take a piece of paper towel and I'm going to push down lightly onto the flowers. Then I'm going to come in with a hammer and I'm just going to gently tap on top of the flowers, making sure that I don't move them at all. So I'm going to hold my hand in place here so that they do not move. You could also use tape to secure the paper towel if you don't want things moving around. You don't want to tap too hard, but just enough so that the color squeezes out of the flowers. Once I've done this, I'm going to remove the petals to reveal my floral art. I tried a different technique as well to see if I would get a different result. So I didn't stain the paper first, and I did one flower at a time. So I placed one flower down, placed my paper towel over top, and then gently tap with my hammer. And then I'm going to continue working flower by flower, doing it this way to see if I get a different result. So I did a few flowers on this one. I didn't do as many flowers as I did on my other piece of art because I don't want them all to be the same. Once I am happy with the results on this one, I am then going to dye the paper with the tea. So I just went around starting in the corners and working down. I didn't go over the flowers too much with the tea because I didn't want to change the yellow color of the flowers at all. Next, I'm going to bring in a rustic piece of barnwood, and I'm just going to use some tiny finishing nails, and I'm going to mount my flower art onto this rustic piece of wood. If you want to recreate this project, both techniques work. So you can either dye the paper first or after. It really doesn't matter. The results were pretty much the same. I do suggest doing it by individual flowers though. I found that I got a nicer result when I did the flowers one by one versus in a big group all together. This is my finished art here, and I'm so happy with how this project turned out. It was super easy and super fun. I hope that you will give this one a try. Thanks so much for watching Home Talk, and we'll see you on another video.